Welcome to twoquestions.tv. With me today is Max Rivest, and we're talking about mission-driven business. Welcome to twoquestions.tv. I'm Susan Baroncini-Moe. Joining me today is Max Rivest, CEO and co-founder of Wize Monkey, the world's first coffee leaf tea company and social venture. Good stuff. Hey, Max, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, Max, Wize Monkey won a Best Mission-Driven Business Nexty Award. Could you talk to me about why mission is so important to a business?
I mean, for us, it was just undeniable in the sense that we had the opportunity to make a big change in the industry for the better. And when we finally recognized the fact that we could kind of change the economics of coffee in a holistic way, not in like a temporary way or anything like that. It's a whole shift in the industry. We just couldn't turn down the opportunity to do that because it was just too big. And to be able to make a real tangible impact that actually helps people on a daily basis, year round is pretty, it's just a cool, raison d'être, as they would say, or like reason to be. So, for us, it just really motivated us. And I spent some time in Nicaragua and Costa Rica in the past and all over Latin America. And so kind of felt like it was a good opportunity to kind of give back to the cultures that have provided myself and my business partner now with so many great cultural experiences. So, why wouldn't we want to get out of bed and know that we're helping people every day is, as much as we can grow, that's the more impact we create. So it's just a great motivator.
So someone's watching this show and they haven't really thought about mission in the way that you have. So what's a great place to start if you want to start a mission-driven business, or if you're in business and you'd like to kind of go back and go, how do I make my business more mission-driven? How do you really go back there and pick up that social venture part of it? Can you?
I mean, there's kind of two ways to do it, I guess. I'm spitballing here, but I would say if the business that you're in, for example, if you're, I don't know, let's say you're selling fax machines, like really simple B2B stuff, or not necessarily simple, but really like kind of basic industrial B2B stuff. You can build in a mission, a social impact aspect by finding a particular charity that you really want to work with, or an organization that's doing something that's somehow related to your work. And you can always build in those aspects and even like incentivize clients to also join and give into these initiatives and stuff like that. That's one way to do it, to kind of tack it on or try to build it into the program later stage. The other flip side is more what we did, where we found the opportunity to begin with, and it all kind of stemmed from the same idea. At the same time, we could produce a great product and also have a great social impact. And so it was all really baked in together in the model. So it's easier that way, obviously, to create the impact, because as soon as you sell one thing, you're already creating the impact. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry. Yeah, thanks. But I would say honestly, it all comes down to passion in terms of what really drives you, and also having a realistic eye in terms of what do you think your customers will also be passionate about. It's one thing to be like, oh, well, I really love, donating to this women's rights group 150%. Like, it's my number one thing. I want to do this every single day. And does that particular organization appeal to maybe some of your customers? Or is there a different one that might be in the same vein, that, let's say, but might be a bit more professional or have better media that you can then use to also leverage for your own clients? And so there's like other things, like, for example, a good one is called Project Alianza. And we work with them in helping them fund, we give them some promotion stuff, and they fund schools in coffee farms in Nicaragua specifically. And what's great about them is that they're doing direct tangible impact. They're building schools, getting school materials for people, for kids. And with that, they have media that we can then promote for them. So like they send us their photos and their videos and stuff like that, and then we can leverage it for them. And it also proves that, you know, we are actually doing something important and tangible. So there's ways to do it, whether it's really baked into the model in the very beginning, which is kind of like a luckier thing, or let's say like it's maybe optimal in that way. At the same time, it doesn't mean that, you know, you could be selling fax machines and find a way to incorporate a social impact component. And there's ways to do it where it's not like cheesy and where it doesn't seem like it's tacked on. There are ways to do it where it's actually really driven by that. And it's all about the kind of the message hierarchy that you have in your marketing, and also how you see it going forward and developing long term. Because in the short term, everything looks really good and easy, and you throw it in a flyer and it's all good. But then how does that build over the next 10 years? What's the actual end goal? And is there like a metric you can attach to that? So there's a lot that goes into it, of course.
Yeah, of course. Well, let's talk about Wize Monkey for a minute. And okay, we're going into a bonus round. I'm not going to lie. We're in a bonus round, folks. It happens. All right. I go rogue. Okay. We're going to talk about Wize Monkey because, first of all, I enjoy it. Second of all, I notice in the box, like the box has all the, like there's so much here. And I thought, okay, I read the box. I read everything. You know, I can be eating cereal. I'll read the cereal box. I don't care. But I was reading the box and then I opened it up. I thought, oh my God, I have to take everything out, and inside the box, there's more information inside the box that I need to learn about. And so, I mean, you've really put it everywhere. So tell me more about how you came up with this concept, how you learned about coffee leaf tea. I mean, how this is not tea, it's not coffee, it's both. What's this? Tell me everything. Just give us the scoop.
So essentially, I went to France for a master's, and when I was in France, I was also doing a design contract for a client in Vancouver. And with the time exchange, I was up till 4 a.m. and I would go to bed. I'd wake up at 7 and go to school, and I was doing finals at the same time as this deadline for marketing. And I drank like 6-7 coffees a day. I'd get a coffee and I put an espresso in it. And after a week or so of that, my body just like self imploded, and it was just like the worst experience I had in so long. And it felt like I had like chemical poisoning. And essentially I went to the doctor and they're like, you had an acute overdose on caffeine, you know, stay away from coffee, etc. And I was like, wow, okay, that's kind of crazy, because I actually really like coffee, but you know, what am I supposed to do now? So, and I never found any like tea companies that I thought were really interesting. I knew that David's Tea was out there, but it was still like very feminine, generally speaking, and very like fruity and like lots of ingredients and stuff. And other than that, I just wasn't really familiar with tea. And growing up, you know, in North America, unless you have a cultural background where your family is from Asia or India or UK, you may not have that tea culture built in. So I just didn't know anything about it. And then I started looking out for tea companies, and I was like, okay, well, there's really not much out there that's that interesting. And then literally like 3 weeks later, the first class of first day of a new class that we had in the second half of our master's, it was a global entrepreneurship class, and we had to find ideas for a project. So I just started going through my newsletters and all these different websites that I frequent for ideas and concepts. And I found a study showing the health benefits of the coffee leaf and how it's been consumed for hundreds of years in different parts of the world, but it's never really been innovated at all. And it has all these great health benefits. And we thought that was really interesting immediately, because there's like a health component. It's been consumed for a long time, but it doesn't really exist. And you know, as we start peeling back more layers about the coffee industry and how it all operates, we recognize that the bean is only ripe to harvest for 3 months out of the year. And the rest of the year, about 90% of the workers are out of work. And coffee in Nicaragua, I can't remember the exact order, but coffee is either number one or number two export. And if you're like most Latin American countries, coffee is like one of the number two, number three exports. And can you imagine your number one moneymaker be only 3 months a year, and the rest of the year everyone has to migrate? They have to move their families, they have to move their kids, or the kids will stay there with the mom, but then they're just really out of work, and so they're not like surviving that well. And the dad has to like go somewhere else and do construction somewhere, or try to like go across the border in Costa Rica and then come back every few weekends. So it's like, it's incredibly disruptive. And so, and it's not like it's disruptive like it was designed that way. It's just the way that the plant operates for the coffee bean. So everyone's kind of victim to this seasonal and volatile plant where the pricing for the bean is changing all the time, and it's controlled by the commodity index in New York. So for someone in Nicaragua, you know, they have no influence on what the actual price is going to be, and they have no visibility on that either. So you have this like perfect storm of difficult aspects about the industry for people that have been, you know, surviving for the last 300 years making coffee. Now, where things got like really crazy is we contacted the researcher who created the study in the beginning, and she started telling us all about these more details and everything. And eventually we started calling coffee farmers in Nicaragua, and we couldn't really get a hold of many of them, obviously. And also they changed their phone system, so they added a digit to every number. We didn't have any phone numbers that worked. So and eventually we started getting in touch with a tea company down there that does herbal tea, and they were interested in trying it out. So that's kind of where things started to get more real. And then at the end of the year, we're like, you know what, let's just go. I have a credit card. Like, let's just find a way to Nicaragua, and we'll start knocking on doors and find some coffee farmers. We know someone who can at least like dry the leaf and put it in a tea bag for us. So we know that, you know, there's a facility there that can handle it, but we've got to go find a farmer. So yeah, that was July 2013. We went down to Nicaragua. We thought the trip was going to take a month to get our first sample, and then take like a few days off to go surfing or something. But it was a crazy adventure, quite a struggle. And we came back 3 months later with our first sample. And then the following year, we just did a bunch of the paperwork and laying the groundwork and everything. And then eventually we launched in December 2014.
Wow. What a cool story. I love it. That's really awesome. And it's exciting because you are making a real difference. And when you open this box, viewers, it says you've contributed 32 minutes of job creation by purchasing this box. I think that's really cool. I think it's really great. So, all right, viewers, we're going to have this link to Wize Monkey in the show notes for today down below so that you can get your own and get 32 minutes of job creation. Awesome. Max, thanks for being on the show.
Definitely. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's very interesting. All right, viewers, get your coffee leaf tea instead of, you know, we've talked about caffeine. You don't have to get your energy from caffeine. We've talked about this, viewers. But if you're going to, coffee leaf tea is a great alternative, and maybe not so bad for someone like me who can't drink coffee or tea. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.